Hey everyone, welcome to the first video in a series about Revit. So in this first video, we're going to talk about creating a title block and organizing our title block with text and parameters. So to get things started, we're going to use we're going to take a default template that Revit has already created, and we're going to create our template from that. So what you're going to do is just open up a new Revit model. And from there, we're going to scroll down to our sheets. We're going to create a new sheet, and what we're going to do is we're going to load a new sheet or a new title block. So we're going to load it, and it should come up to the folder for title blocks. But if it doesn't, this is the folder that it should kind of mirror this. So we're down here in title blocks. And we have a couple different options. So we're going to choose our 11 by 17 option because that's the size of the plotter that we have in our office. But if you have a different size plotter, then go ahead and choose the plotter that you want. So we're going to use this one, 11 by 17, and we're going to open it. So click OK, and we open a new title block. So what this is a 17-inch by 11-inch title block that we have. And we're going to use this, we're going to modify it, and then we're going to save it in our project location. So in order to save it, double click on it, or I'm sorry, in order to modify it, we're going to double click on it, and it brings us up into a new tab up top. And from here, we can start to draw. So all these are just drawn model lines. So first thing that we're going to do, I'm going to create a title block that's off to kind of to the right-hand side. And it gives me a nice square area to do my views. You can do whatever size you want. So first, I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to delete all this stuff because I don't need it necessarily. So I'm going to delete all this, and we'll just start from scratch. All right. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to use my offset commands. I'm going to use my draw commands and my move commands just to create some lines, to create some boxes to draw things. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my offset command, or you can type OF, and we're going to offset these lines right here. So how this works is your offset command, the distance and whether you want to copy it or not are up here. So we're going to change this to 0 feet 1/8 of an inch, and then we want to make sure this is left on copy so that our lines don't get deleted. And we're going to do a couple offsets. So we're going to offset a couple times in the leftward direction. We're going to offset down. I think I only need 2 of these, but we'll do 3 just in case. And then I'm also going to offset this one in the upward direction. All right, so I've got that done. Yeah, I'm only going to need 1 of these. Or I'm sorry, I'm only going to need 2 of these. So I'm going to delete these. All right, so we've got that done. Now I'm going to use my trim command just to clean up these corners. So I've got some corners I want to clean up. Let's make these nice and square. And okay, so now we're good to go. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide basically how big I want my title block to be. So I'm going to use my offset command again, and I'm going to grab this one right here, and I'm going to change this to 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches. I'm going to offset this one to the left, and then I'm going to do one final offset and offset it 1/8 of an inch back to the right, just to give me a nice boundary, a nice border. Okay, so then I'm gonna use my trim command one more time. Again, just clean up these corners so it looks nice. Okay, so yeah, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to again use my offset command to just make a couple boxes. So what it's going to look like, this is going to be, I want 2 boxes up top, and then I want 1 big square box, and then one big rectangular box, and then a box down here with 3. So what that's going to look like is my offset command again, and I'm going to offset all of these 1/2 inch. Just going to do 2 down, and then I'm going to finish this box with an 1/8 inch offset. So all of my boxes are going to kind of have this 1/8 inch gap between them. Then I'm going to do 2 1/4 inches. I'm going to do a 2 1/4 inch offset downward. And then again, I'm going to finish it off with an 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to do a couple more offsets from the bottom. I'm going to do a 1/2 inch offset up 1, 2, 3 times and finish it off with this 1/8 inch separator. Okay, so I've got all my offsets done. Now I'm going to clean up these lines. What I want are I want these little tiny lines between the 1/8 inch offsets to be gone. So I'm going to use my split element tool, and I'm going to make sure this delete inner segment is checked. I'm just going to kind of zoom in, and I'm going to trim between each one of these lines. So here we trim it up, and then we're done. Okay, so we've got it all trimmed. We've got it all looking pretty good. The last couple things, or the last offset that I'm going to do is down here. I'm going to offset 1 inch to the left, and then I'm going to trim one more time. All right, so I've trimmed it. I'm going to delete these segments that I don't want. I'm going to use my trim/extend tool to trim to that line. All right, so that's creating a title block. Super easy, just to draw model lines and make it look like what you want it to look like. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some text to these boxes. So we're going to add text to the boxes, and then in my next video, I'm going to talk about adding parameters. So text that is variable depending on the project that you're working on. So in order to add text, here we add text up here, our label and our text. So all the text that is going to stay constant for the block is just going to be text. And I'll kind of explain the difference between text and labels here in a second. But what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of draw a block, and this is going to be drawn by, and we're going to click out of it. And this looks pretty big, so we're going to make it a little smaller. The Revit may come with different text sizes in here. If you need to have different, maybe a different text size. So like maybe you want I don't know, maybe you want 1/32 of an inch. So maybe you want it to be really, really small. What you're gonna do is you're gonna select it just like here. You're gonna go to edit type. You're not gonna edit the text size right here just quite yet. What this is gonna do, if you edit the text size right here, your type is gonna stay the same, but your text size is gonna be smaller. So if you have, let's do 1 copy. So I'm gonna click CO. I'm gonna copy this down just to illustrate what I'm talking about. So if I want this one to be smaller, if I want it to be maybe 1/32 of an inch, if I change 1/32 of an inch right here, click apply, click OK, it changes both of these. And you can see that the text up here, the text label is still 1/16 of an inch, even though we just changed it to 1/32 of an inch. And the reason that we did that is because Revit uses properties that are tied to attributes. So basically what that means is this has nothing to do with what's actually going on in the drawing. This is just a label. And these attributes down here, or these parameters, are actually what's going on in the drawing. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to keep this to 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so we'll bring it back to 1/16 of an inch. If you want a different text size than what is listed in here, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to edit type, and you're going to want to click duplicate. And so duplicate allows you to specify a new name for your family type. So we're going to do 1/32 of an inch. Click OK. And then once we've created a new type, that's when we can change our text size. And if we want to change our font, that's great. Change our font. And it won't affect this other label, because this label, as you can see, is its property is 1/16 of an inch. So this goes for text in this case. It also goes for when you're drawing walls or different types of floors and stuff like that. You're always going to want to duplicate your family type. So just a pro tip. All right, so we've gone through that. Let's go back to 16 inch. All right, so I've copied these. I've copied 1, 2. I wanna make a couple more labels. So again, I'm gonna click the CO command, or I'm gonna click copy up here, choose a base point, and I'm gonna do a couple more copies. All right, so this is gonna be drawn by, and then down here, this is going to be, I'm gonna make this checked by. This is gonna be where I'm gonna put my sheet name. This is where I'm going to put my sheet number. All right, and then again, I use text dialog boxes because these are just labels. These aren't going to change the actual what I put in here. So the actual person that this sheet is drawn by will change. So we're going to use a custom parameter. But as far as the label of this box, it's always going to say. All right, and then the last thing that we're going to do in this video before we go to the next one is we're going to insert some pictures. So how to insert pictures? I've downloaded a couple of them to my desktop. So I've downloaded a couple pictures to my desktop. So we're going to put these into the drawing. And how you do that? You just click insert, and there's an insert image. So when you click insert image, navigate to your pictures wherever they're saved, and you can throw it right in here. So in this dialog box, we can resize, we can move around, we can drag, and we can make it kind of look however we want it to look. So in this case, I've decided to do the AFIT shield, and also I want to do the Civil Engineer School crest. So I'm going to throw these two in here, just to give it a little bit of character. Make it a little smaller. Okay, so we've done this now. Before we do our labels, I'm just going to save this. I'm going to save this as a family, and it's going to prompt us to save it where we want to save it. So this is the normal Revit hierarchy. I like to save it wherever I'm going to save my project. So whatever project file I'm going to use, that's where I'm going to save it. So I'm just going to save it to the desktop for now. I'm going to make it 11 by 17. I'm just going to delete this, and I'm going to make it say template at the end, just so I know exactly what I'm putting into my project. All right, and it's going to save as a family. And now we have a sheet or a title block that we can drag straight into our project. So how to do that? Just right click, click new sheet, and you can choose. You'll have to load it. Find wherever you saved your template, and you can load it this way. So this is how we're going to load our title block when we finally do get to that point. So you can see we have our pictures up here. We've got our labels, and then we have the boxes where we're going to put our individual stuff. So that's how we do it. All right. I hope you got a lot out of this lesson. Stay tuned for the next one where we talk about custom parameters, so we can add things like sheet number and sheet name and all that.